seminars and symposia. He has organized and successfully conducted 5 seminars and symposiums. I mean, the list goes on and on. There is no end to his research field. I welcome you, sir, and we are very glad to have you as a resource person for this program. Thank you once again, and please take over the session, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, it's not audible, sir. Your mic is muted.
Can you permit to share the screen?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
No, it is coming disabled.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are making it, sir. Yes, sir. Now, sir, you can check it now, sir.
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's okay. Is it visible?
No, not yet, sir. It's not visible.
It is visible, but not full screen.
Yeah.
It is there. It is on the screen, no?
It is
Yes,
there, but yes, it is
Yes,
visible.
sir.
Yeah. So, good morning to all the participants. And it's an opportunity for me to interact with the research scholars of Mysore University. I'm thankful to Professor Chandramouli sir, and Sandhyarani madam, and Priyanka madam for introducing me. Madam, all the scholars are from social science, no? Most of them.
Sir, we have not only scholars, but also PhD holders. And also we have scholars and teachers from national, international level also, sir, here.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to share my views with regard to research design. I will try to give some background for the research design. I am very grateful to one teacher in social work that we should always remember, since I'm from social work, that is Professor D.K. Laldas. It is he who molded my understanding, my research perspective, social work perspective, especially social work intervention perspective. I was not until 2007-8, I did not know about single subject design. I did not know about non-parametric tests that are very much applicable to social work and also in social science. We all know that in social science, now it is economics and clinical psychology, and next it is management science, which have very strong research methodology base. I'm not degrading other social sciences, be it sociology or political science or social work. But as of now, it is economics which is ruling the system, the power system, the economic system, and the development. Present development is driven by the economic theories, approaches that have been adopted. Then, second thing, it is clinical psychology. Economics at the macro level of the system, it is trying to bring changes, introduce changes through policies, programs, policy formulation and program formulation, are evaluating the programs implemented by government agencies and all. There was also time when sociology was very strong, but nowadays economics has taken that major space in social science research, especially in behavioral science or health sciences. It is clinical psychology which has very robust, adopted robust research methodology, statistical application, very strong research designs and hypothesis testing. They are quite advanced and equal to economics and management sciences. Somewhere, sociology lost its robustness in research. So is social work. Except Tata Institute and NIMHANS, Tata Institute tried to adopt macro level research approaches in social work and social science in general. But in NIMHANS psychiatric social work department has contributed a lot, adopting very strong research methodology and statistical applications equal to economics and clinical psychology. But in other departments, university departments or colleges where social work is introduced, where social work is studied, our research base statistical application needs a lot of upgrading our knowledge and skills. So in a way, I am not an expert in this, but I am trying to share my views that I have adopted, understood through the process of teaching, learning, both. As I said, I always consider myself as a student of Professor Laldas, although I am not a direct student, but after becoming a lecturer, I became his student. I learned from him many things and adopted, introduced in field practical, how we can adopt research methodology, statistical applications in field work. So in that process, I'm very much grateful to Professor D.K. Laldas, sir. So coming to research design, you have all had research orientation. In social science, we deal with social phenomenon, economic phenomenon, health phenomenon, education phenomenon, environmental phenomenon, or development phenomenon in particular. Especially social work people, they are more concerned about development, empowerment, building empowering the individual groups and communities, and mainstream in order to bring equality or social justice. So, but normally, when we talk about research design, it is basically a complete thought process of a researcher who trying to understand a problem, who comprehend a problem, understand it, perceive it in a proper framework, theoretical framework, and try to adopt a robust research methodology process, statistical application, hypothesis testing procedure to prove the results, to prove his hypothesis or to prove his assumptions, or to achieve whatever objective set for his studies. As I said, economics, earlier sociology, they focused more on macro research areas at policy level, program level, or national level problems or societal problems, social problems. Especially in sociology, we study about different kinds of social problems. In fact, social work adopted sociological base, economics, psychology, political science, environment, gender, all these perspectives social work adopted, and it tried to implement or adopt different kinds of research methodology and design, research designs. So we have to have a bit of understanding about society, the universe that we are in. The physics perspective, chemistry perspective, sociological perspective, economic perspective of the society and universe, they are divergent. All subjects, all sciences, they attempt to study the universe or society or behavior. So universe, society, and behavior. So different disciplines with their paradigms and perspectives, they try to understand the object or subject or any phenomena. Object could be soil or rock or planets or meteoroids or asteroids, or it could be environment, natural resources, atmosphere, climate, or it could be society, the social institution, social system, or it could be behavior. So these are the major areas that the sciences, social sciences, behavioral sciences, they attempt to focus and understand it in a systematic and better manner. And from time to time, the context is very important. The interpretative system of research, which focuses on understanding a phenomenon in its particular context. So contextual aspect is very important in social science and social work in particular. So with this background, I would like to share that every researcher, be it a PhD or teacher, he tries to develop a framework or perspective of his research out of his reading the books, journals, newspapers, or listening to different kinds of news. So or through discussions with colleagues, with students. A teacher also develop different kinds of questions in his teaching and research career. As a question, Newton encountered when apple fell down. Before Newton also apple was falling down, but Newton got the question. So before, some people might have thought of it, but Newton got a question and he attempted to find solution or answer to that question. Why apple fell down? Why apple fall down? Why it did not go up? What is the force that is pulling it down? So the gravitation. So that is where he ended he took his research. So a doubt or a question, a doubt, which in social work, Mary Richmond talks about, doubt is the key for inquiry in his social diagnosis book. So, so doubt or question is very important for a researcher because it shows inquisitiveness of a researcher to understand a phenomenon or problem or a social issue in a proper perspective, fit it in a proper perspective and understand it in a systematic and scientific way. So that is where the role of researcher comes. So research design has two aspects in mind. One, it has its own process. On the other, it includes the total process procedure that will be defined by a researcher when he takes up a problem. There are many individuals or teachers, researchers, practitioners, students. They get a very innovative, creative idea in their mind. They have different notions, perceptions, beliefs, opinions, attitudes about a social issue or a problem or a phenomenon. You can see across social media, we discuss, people share their opinions, their views, their experiences with regard to different issues, whether they are social issues, political issues, economic issues. Many people, be it newsline, TV news anchors or discussions, or virtual mode discussions, or social media platforms, they discuss how government is responding to COVID-19 challenges, how people are responding to COVID-19 challenges and all. So we contextualize. In the context, we try to perceive, observe a problem and try to express our views depending based on our understanding, the experience that we have gained. So research design, it is although it is a total blueprint of the research that we all know, but it's also a total plan of the study, because it takes into account the reliability and validity aspects, evidences aspects that are very important for a researcher to take up. There are some aspects to research design that a researcher needs to know. So how am I going to collect information, be it a review of studies or secondary sources or social media platforms or textbooks or newspaper cuttings or video clippings? See, our opinions of the people, statements of the people, responses of the people, they are all data, information for us. Everything is put in data form. Whatever our the thoughts, feelings, perceptions, attitudes, beliefs, opinions, reflections, experiences, they are all brought in the form of a data set. So within a research perspective. It also requires the skills of the researcher, and objectives needs to be set very properly. Problem has to be set very properly in proper perspective. It also considers the time and money aspects. So it also takes into account the nature of the problem, the depth of the problem, the scope of the problem, the magnitude of the problem that the researcher, teacher, and student is going to take up. So that clarity, that perspective building is very important at this stage. There are different types of research. We may discuss at the end also. There are different types of research. Normally, when we were students, we used to study about exploratory research, explanatory research, experimental research. But nowadays, the research designs are so much defined very accurately and very particularly that every design has its own scope and application, and it's validated. So that is very important for us to understand. So normally, we are very much in COVID-19 situation, and we know that many disciplines, be it medical science, economics, or health economics, health psychology, or social work, or many chemistry, biochemistry, and other subjects, virology. These are all subjects, they are trying to understand the COVID-19 situation. But for social science people, it is a new phenomenon. Pandemic, we have heard of disasters, that is natural disasters. But we have not, we have seen some man-made disasters like riots, violence, political unrest, and all those things. But pandemic of this scale, maybe it is one of the biggest after the century, after last century, maybe for this century, it's a great challenge. Now, how COVID-19 situation is causing its effect on society, culture, and behavior? These questions we get because we observe people undergoing the trauma, undergoing the problem, facing the challenges, encountering problems in their day-to-day life, dealing with the COVID-19 situation. So in this context, the context is very important. In this context, we do not know many things. There are no studies which will help us to understand this pandemic situation, but there may be some related studies, maybe in geology, maybe in geography, maybe in health economics, maybe in health psychology. They must have studied in environmental science, they must have studied on disasters. So even psychiatric social work, there must be some studies related to disasters. But COVID-19 situation, this kind of pandemic situation, it's a very new phenomenon. This kind of phenomenon require exploratory research design, where we want to understand the problem from people's perspective, the lived experiences of the people, the very lived experience of the people, reflections of the people, experiences of the people, suffering of the people, their thoughts, feelings, experiences, that we, perceptions, attitude, we want to know. what they are thinking, what they are feeling, what experience they are going through. So that is very much new to us. So in order to understand how COVID-19, what is its what is its scope, what is its nature, what kind of consequences it is causing on the life, livelihood, behavior, culture, society of the people, how families are changing, the family transaction, family relationship, family interactions are changing because of this, how occupational profile is changing, how digital technology is intruding into the work life and in general the life of the people, in the life, education and employment, how digital technology, virtual technology, online video technology, it is becoming a necessary intervention in the life, employment, education of the people today and work of the people. So without this, we cannot live. So now digital technology has become an important part of our life. So now this is a large canvas that we develop when we look at the problem, and we try to put it in a proper perspective, and we try to understand. The objective is to focus the problem phenomenon and understand the problem from people's perspective, the version of the people, the experience of the people that we would like to understand. We discuss, we conduct interviews, case studies, focus group discussions to understand the problem in a better manner. In a way, exploratory research is a learning process for the researcher. So here, researcher is trying to or attempting to understand the people's perspective. So he is a very active learning process for a researcher or for a student who is taking up this kind of research. Then we also have descriptive research design. There are many studies, especially in there may be some studies in health field where they try to understand the descriptiveness, prevalence of the problem. Like for example, in the COVID-19 situation, we can take up descriptive research on a defined population. So on a defined population, we can take up a problem, maybe a health problem, how the scope, the nature, the effect of the problem that are experienced by a defined population or targeted population. If you want to take up such kind of studies, descriptive research design is very useful. It is a quantitative research. Exploratory is more a qualitative nature of study, where we don't focus more on hypothesis. It is not hypothesis testing at all. So we try to, we take our study towards framing the new hypothesis and new theories and all that. But in descriptive research, we try to describe the characteristics of a phenomenon or a problem or variables that are part of the study. So it could be in demography also, we take up this kind of study, and in health sciences also, we can take up this kind of studies wherein we try to understand the prevalence of the problem, be it COVID, be it cancer, be it HIV, be it tuberculosis or malaria. Whenever we want to know the scope, the nature, the magnitude, the effect of the problem, so and we want to put it in a quantitative framework, so definitely we can take up a descriptive type of studies, wherein we try to describe the attributes, characteristics of a phenomenon, problem of a defined or targeted population. So explanatory research design is rather a you can say advanced level of research design that normally used in economics, because they always have a structural equation modeling or cause-effect relationship modules for their studies when they take up studies with regard to poverty, unemployment, banking, insurance sector. They use this kind of modulation in their studies. Whenever there is cause-effect relationship is nature of our study, we go for experimental research design. It is a very advanced level quantitative research. If our study is of high quantitative nature, when our level of measurements, it's not nominal and ordinal, it is ratio and interval, scale of level of measurement. There we take up high scale statistical analysis, and our models are very high level, where it requires multivariate analysis and all. Whenever we try to explain a problem where we want to find out the causes, the sources, the reasons of that phenomenon, and we try to make some prediction in the dependent variable using the independent variable. So whatever changes that takes place in the or the contribution of independent variables in bringing change in the dependent variable, that's what the model that we follow in explanatory research design. So many social science studies, they follow this to explain a phenomenon, and this requires a lot of work with regard to statistical equation and all. Basically, in explanatory research, sometimes we take up secondary sources also. We use normally commerce, management, economics, they use the secondary sources, and even agricultural science. It also uses different kinds of secondary source based studies. Environmental science people also use this for predicting the climate change or global changes. Predicting, if you want to make any prediction, you taking up independent variables. So a prediction in the dependent variable, that will help us to use explanatory research design. So normally we try to identify the independent variables or the causes, such factors from the studies, and we try to collect data according to those variables, and we try to put it in proper theoretical framework and methodological framework and statistical framework. So interval and ratio level measurement scale is very, very important for this. In exploratory research, we don't need that, because we are dealing with qualitative data or textual data or audio data or video data. So audio data, video data, or text data can be used in exploratory research to understand a phenomenon or to systematically study a phenomenon. So normally in descriptive type of studies also, we don't go for we don't go for advanced level of statistical analysis. Especially we use univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and we try to our purpose is to describe the characteristics or describe the prevalence, magnitude of a problem, severity of a problem. But we are not our purpose is not to explain a phenomenon or explain a problem. So now I'm coming to two parts of research design in my presentation now: experimental research design and quasi-experimental research design. So experimental research design, the contribution of R.A. Fisher in agricultural research is really great. It is he who started experimental research in adopting in agricultural research. Now agricultural science has contributed a lot for experimental research, and in testing the crops, in testing the inputs and how much output they are able to predict. So that kind of studies are taken up in experimental research design in the field of agricultural science. agricultural science has contributed a lot, not in both research methodology and statistical application. They come out with macro level studies, and also they come out with micro level studies. So they also take up explanatory type of research, where they try to understand macro level problem of related to agriculture, agricultural economics, sustainable agriculture, or organic or chemical farming based agriculture. It also studies about the farmers, the problems of the farmers, the plight of the farmers, marketing aspects, agricultural technology, agricultural marketing, and cultivation practices in sustainable agriculture and chemical farming based agriculture, in water management, varieties of seeds, hybrid seeds, and especially the inputs, agricultural inputs in terms of manure, insecticide, pesticides, how effectively they can be used to increase yield of different varieties of crops. So a lot of, there are many industries, agriculture based industries, seed making, seed producing industries, fertilizer producing industries. So a large sector of industry depends on agricultural science research today. So many agricultural colleges and agricultural universities, horticulture universities, veterinary universities, they contribute a lot to the experimental research in their discipline. Along with research perspective, statistical perspective, theoretical perspective also, especially I think if there are more social work research scholars, group work is a method, and I think we should learn group work from agricultural science people, or agricultural colleges, or agricultural universities, how they adopted or innovated the group work practice and adopted it in their agricultural practices, both in teaching, research, and extension. Especially in extension, agricultural extension projects and programs, they very effectively, innovatively defined the group work practices. Like commodity interest groups, they came out with, earlier they were forming the farmers groups and all that. Then they realized through training and development activities that that their programs, training programs, are not making expected effect. So then they started research, and they tried to form commodity interest group. And they also, their research also contributed for farmers produce organizations, FPOs, which are registered under Company Act, and thousands of farmers, they contribute, they initiate enterprises, entrepreneurial activities to improve their income and livelihood opportunities. So agricultural research has done tremendous job, especially social work people have to adopt this methodology and their approaches and methodologies in social work application, also extension programs. Secondly, microbiology also adopted experimental research. In social sciences, especially the psychology and clinical psychology, they adopted experimental research. And also education, it also adopted experimental research design in their teaching research process, especially in assessing interventions and evaluation. This methodology, even education discipline, very effectively followed in handling issues related to rural children, tribal children, or children with special needs. So experimental research design was very categorically used by these disciplines. I would like to say that very important contribution of agricultural science, agricultural research, agricultural colleges, and agricultural universities is integrated farming system, IFS model. IFS model is a great contribution of agricultural science colleges. And the greatness of agricultural science institution is developing it and adopting it as a part of their teaching, research, and extension activities, where teachers and students very actively adopted integrated farming system. They adopted it as part of their extension. So this model is a very successful model, very effective model. I think we may all researchers, we are from social science, we all know that our new agricultural policy, which emphasizes doubling farmers' income. How are we going to double the farmers' income? This is a challenge to the social science people, especially social work people, especially the social development students, those whose main job is to address, understand the problems of the society and address the problems of the society. What kind of interventions are necessary? So the basic nature of interventions are very robust as far as agriculture research is concerned. The second discipline which has influenced experimental research is clinical psychology. The therapeutic approach, it could be family therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, solution focused therapy, transactional analysis, all these kinds of therapies developed by the psychologist. The contribution of therapist we should always respect. It is rather than sociologist, it is psychologist, social psychologist, and clinical psychologist. They attempted to study family from a different perspective, and they try to understand the problem and intervene through therapeutic interventions, through interactions, communications, counseling process, and all. They wanted to bring change in the family institution, be it couple relationship, conjugal rights, family interactions, family environment, family relationships, the trust, the cohesiveness that is required for an institution to survive. So how values can be inculcated at the family level so that the family institution sustains, and how the family related problems, whether it is between parents or between children and parents or between children, how those problems can be studied systematically, scientifically, and intervention are introduced through family therapy based sessions, wherein consistent sessions are conducted with the family members individually or in group to bring changes in the family system or family institutions. So the contribution of clinical psychology in terms of therapeutic knowledge, the therapeutic knowledge has contributed a lot, and most of these psychiatric social work initiatives or research or teaching or extension activities adopted the therapeutic knowledge of the clinical psychology and adopted at the clinical level and also social context. Both in context, clinical context and social context, the therapeutic knowledge is very effectively used. I think in both the context, the agricultural science, clinical psychology, education to some extent, they contributed a lot for adopting the experimental research design. So where we try to manipulate the independent variables to bring changes in the dependent variable. So it is a human intervention, a researcher, educationist, psychologist, or a social worker comprehend the problem, perceive the problem, and introduce interventions, introduce programs, introduce services, or give linkages to the services, or conduct counseling services or therapeutic services to the individuals or groups to bring change in their behavior or to solve the problems that they are facing. It is more conscientization process of at the individual level, at the group level, at the community level sometimes, to bring change in thinking, in the critical thinking of the people, and in their behavior, in their practices, in their beliefs. So bringing or making people understand about their behavioral context, social context, cultural context, this research the interventions are introduced very effectively, and over a period of time, because of the intervention, because of the services, because of the programs introduced by the social workers or psychologists or agricultural scientists in different context, they try to bring change in the dependent variable. So experimental research design is very effectively used, and contributed a lot for the development. I think a little addition to what we can say, there are some studies, there are some programs initiated by researchers, maybe a agricultural scientist, clinical psychologist, or a psychiatric social worker, mental health professional, or educationist. These are the people who adopt experimental research, wherein they adopt control group and experimental group, and they introduce intervention or program or service to experimental group, and control group is kept as it is without any influence of the extraneous environment or extraneous external variables. So there are also some studies, like I will give two examples which are very important, I think. One community rural health project, Dr. Arole introduced in 1970s in 200 villages of Ahmednagar district in Maharashtra. Arole studied in America, came back to his village and assessed, as a medical science professional, he assessed the problems, health problems of the people as a social scientist. And he thought that the people in villages, they are suffering from different kinds of problems. He observed that infant mortality rate was very high, maternal mortality rate was very high, malnutrition was very severe, anemia was very severe, problems of healthcare services was a major problem in 1970s, no hospitals, no trained manpower, and the women who were attending deliveries, they were not trained, they were not skilled. So they were very, they were just attending as a traditional caregiver. They were trying to extend whatever experience they inherited from, generations. So healthcare services were a problem. There were no hospitals and no healthcare givers, trained healthcare givers who could attend the problems of the people. This is the situation. You can imagine what would have been the what had been the situation in 1970s when you look at the present situation. Now you see national ambulance services and all. Dr. Arole adopted 200 villages, assessed on some indicators the health status of the people, that is infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, number of deliveries attended by the rural women, and number of deliveries attended in the hospitals, and malnutrition problem, anemia problem among the children and mothers and women. So all these indicators he took it, and also the knowledge of the people or women who were attending the deliveries. And he established one hospital, and he wanted the patients to come, but many times patients, hardly patients used to attend his hospital for treatment or for seeking healthcare assistance. So healthcare seeking behavior was also very poor among people in rural villages. They hardly thought of going to hospital and taking treatment. They hardly thought of going to hospital for deliveries. They thought deliveries are conducted at home, and it is a practice that is followed for decades and centuries. So they thought it is a common practice undertaken at the household level and attended by a untrained woman in the village. So then he started facing different kinds of problems, and one, he opened hospital, but he was not getting a good number of patients, be it women, be it children or other patients. Many, unregistered medical practitioners, they were taking up the treatment and all. Whether the treatment was effective or not, it was very difficult to say. But how somehow the registered medical practitioner or unregistered medical practitioners, those who attend um, health needs of the people, sometimes if we train them, they will give miracle results. So Dr. Arole was encountering one after another problem. Then what he did, he started ambulance services. He started one ambulance with all the services, with medical services, first aid services, even sometimes all kinds of testing, assessment, and services to the people. So this developed a credibility for him and for his hospital. When he started sending vehicles, ambulance services, medical services to the village, at the doorstep services to the people, so people felt very happy. And then gradually he designed a new program, 1 week in-house training program for the women in the villages, for them residential. So initially women were reluctant, but later they came and undergone training in the first aid services. And after they went back, they were given clear instruction that they had to identify, detect the health problems at the early stage, and attend at the primary level. If not possible, they should refer to the hospital. So they became liaisons between the people and the hospital. So a new cadre emerged, and then people started approaching the hospital for all kinds of health problems. And for deliveries, people started taking help of the hospital-based services. And even these those women who were involved in giving deliveries or helping in deliveries, they were given training how to take care. And that knowledge and skill helped these women to attend deliveries, refer for deliveries and all. So over the period, he extended these kinds of medical services. First, he assessed IMR rate, maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate, number of deliveries in the hospital, number of deliveries in the home, malnutrition, anemia, all these kinds of things, and health-seeking behavior. So, and then over a period of time, he assessed the situation was totally different. IMR reduced, maternal mortality rate reduced, healthcare seeking behavior increased, deliveries also increased. Because institutional deliveries increased, MMR came down, IMR came down. So people realized, he gave a new realization to people that it is health seeking behavior, access to healthcare services, that is very much important to reduce IMR, MMR, and malnutrition problem. And this project, Community Rural Health Project, became an input for our National Rural Health Mission introduced in 2005. Why I am referring to this? Because an initiative of 1970 became an input. That experiment, that project became an input for a national level policy formulation and program formulation. National health policy was changed, and National Rural Health Mission was introduced as a program at the national level. A project succeeded in some villages, scaled up to national level, and adopted as a health policy and health program, and introduced as National Rural Health Mission, and which is now whatever you see, the ASHA worker. I think the women who were trained in 1970s, they work like ASHA. Okay, so that role was created by these people. That role was not there in healthcare system. And even you take the example of Dr. Shashikant Ahankari in Usmanabad district, being medical scientist and having social movement exposure under in Total Revolution of Jaiprakash Narayan. He worked for demystification of knowledge. I am trying to share this because this is very, very important for social science researchers and social work research scholars and teachers. How medical scientists could bring social change at the national level. Dr. Arole, having medical science knowledge and having social movement exposure under Jaiprakash Narayan leadership of that is total participation in total revolution, he committed for society, and he opened hospital. He developed 3-month courses for SHG women. He trained women. That knowledge skill improved. Because knowledge skill improved, the trained illiterate women, they started attending or providing first aid healthcare services to village people at the primary level. So primary healthcare services introduced by these people at the doorstep service or at the village level. And that practice, that experiment, that project, that practice was adopted and scaled up at the national level as a health policy and health program. So how initiatives, experiments, and initiative, you can say initiatives. In social work we say initiative, in in research term we say experiments. So how these experiments and initiatives addressed the national problem. A experiment at village level scaled up at the national level. You can take up the same same model in terms of Raleigh Siddhi model or development model. This I give healthcare model, development model, Raleigh Siddhi, where because of the work of Anna Hazare, his village development program became scaled up to state level. Maharashtra government introduced Adarsha Gaon Yojana. So one village development, successful village development program became an input to scaling up at a policy and new policy, introducing a new policy and program at the Maharashtra state government. And also I think Anna Hazare's initiative of dispute resolution, amicably solving the village problems, that initiative also contributed for Tanta Mukta Gaon in Maharashtra state. On October 2 Gandhi Jayanti, a village which is free from disputes, where disputes are resolved at the panchayat level, at the village level. Such villages are identified, are the villages which do not report any problem in the police station, or which have a mechanism of dispute resolution at the village level and panchayat level. Such villages are identified, recognized, and rewarded at the national level. So, and also you can see National Institute of Watershed Management was started in Raleigh Siddhi. A national institute, the work in recognition of the work of Anna Hazare, a national institute was started. The essence of national institute in the watershed management that was felt by the government. So this background is very important for social science scholars, because at the end, what research addresses? One, we understand social problem. We try to understand social issues. We try to understand systematically, scientifically the social issues, economic issues, health issues, education issues, environmental issues, water issues, sanitation issues, all these kinds of issues. We try to understand, study, and understand in a systematic and scientific way. This is one level. But next what? Most of our research have lost meaning or applicability. In science and technology, why that research is robust? Because their experimental research is very, very high. In the same way, we lost that robustness of experimental research in our social science research and also in social work. Our fieldwork practice has not adopted experimental research approach. So our fieldwork is very weak, especially in social work. Even in other subject of social science, we hardly adopt experimental research. That design is hardly used in this field. But you see how agricultural research has made integrated farming system model as a model and scaled up at the national level. It is introduced in the new agricultural policy. That is the greatest contribution of you can say the agricultural science people and MS Swaminathan. That input of agricultural colleges, agricultural science colleges, agricultural research universities, that their model of integrated farming system has been part of now new agricultural policy, or it is a solution to the doubling farmers income. It is a solution to the doubling farmers' income, the policy that is set by the government of India. So we have to come out with new models, new interventions, new programs, new services that can be introduced through experimental research designs. Now, how much time I have left with? Okay, it is 11. It is going to be 11. So now I will just say there are different kinds of experimental research designs. Pre-test, post-test designs are there. Post-test group designs are there. 4 group designs are there. We have in experimental research some characteristics of replication, reliability, validity, and randomization. We randomly select people. That is, sampling is very essential in this. We cannot select people whom we want. That may be there, that necessity may be there, that need may be there, depending on the nature of the problem. But for experimental research, you must follow the principle of randomization, the probability theory of sampling, where every person is given equal chance of being selected in the experimental group, in the experimental group. And also randomization in terms of selection, randomization in terms of allocation. So we have to give equal chance to people with whom we want to work, either to be selected in experimental group or to be selected in control group. So that equal chance of allocation, equal chance of selection, it has to be ensured in experimental research. So that's very important. That's very important. So there are this is very important. These are very important characters that are followed in the experimental research designs. So there are true experimental designs, there are pre-experimental designs, and there are quasi-experimental designs. So in the true experimental designs, normally experimental group, control group are very systematically followed. Randomization is ensured. The selection of the persons and allocation of the persons to the experimental group and control group is very systematically ensured by the researcher. And in the pre-test and post-test, assessment is done before the intervention, before the program, before the service, and post-assessment is also done with the experimental group with whom the program is introduced. And the same is adopted with the control group also. Whatever difference you make, whatever difference between the experimental group and control group you find, that will ensure the effectiveness of your intervention, effectiveness of your program, effectiveness of your service. So this is a methodology. Sometimes we do not have, we do not have any kind of control group. So, or we have a group, but only post-test is conducted. We could not find time to collect pre-test data. So only post-test group design can be adopted under such circumstances. That also gives some kind of valid results. Solomon four group design is also adopted, where 2 experimental groups, 2 control groups are adopted. Why we should have control group? It is to set the baseline data, that the validity of the data. How to ensure that the baseline data is accurate? Whatever changes we introduced, whatever changes we achieved, whatever outcome we have achieved, whatever result we have achieved, it is because of our intervention. It is because of our service. It is because of our program that we have given to the group. So to ensure that, we must have to set the baseline data of control group and experimental group. You introduce programs, interventions with the experimental group, but you keep control group without that. But after some time, after your programs, intervention, services with the experimental group, you again do post evaluation and you compare. So normally in the control group, you don't find any kind of difference in the pre-test and post-test. But in the experimental group, you find difference in the pre-test and post-test. You can go for, if your sample is very large, you can go for paired t-test. That is possible. And ANOVA also you can use to show the effectiveness of more than 2 groups. That is possible. And even in pre-test also, you can show the paired t-test results where there is no significant difference. Normally in experimental group, because of your intervention, because of your program service, you find a difference in the pre-test score and post-test score. So to increase the validity of the results, you can go for 4-group design, 2 experimental group, 2 control group, to ensure, to show the validity of your results outcome. So we have pre-experimental designs also, wherein these groups also intend to, here we don't have control group, but we have experimental group. But the purpose here is how independent variable is able to bring change. That is the only purpose of the pre-experimental research design. In that, there are different kinds of, it is, although there is no control group, sometimes it is said it is not that much scientific one, but it depends on the need. We can make use of such pre-experimental research design. Then there are different types of pre-experimental designs. One-shot case study, that you conduct some kind of case study, you collect data, information related to a person or a group or a community. And then after the treatment also, some the data is collected. So there is no control group here. There is no control group here, but it is more like a one-shot case study with the same person, with the same group before and after. So sometimes you can also use post-test and pre-test in this, and that is again without any control group. So you give treatment. Now it is like in medical science, normally it follows assessment, treatment, and outcome. You go to a doctor, doctor observes you, tests you, observes you, assess you, ask few questions: what food you had, how is your sleep, how is your motion, how is your energy, and all that. He collects information, and he also collects information through talking. He collects information through stethoscope or through other tests like diagnostic tests, blood test, hemoglobin, or your white blood cells, red blood cells, and all that. So on medical parameters also, through tests, diagnostic tests also, reports are taken. That is also a data for a doctor to assess your problem, what you are suffering from. Are you suffering from flu? Are you suffering from COVID? Are you suffering from respiratory problem, asthmatic and all? So that doctor has to diagnose. So after assessment, diagnosis comes. After diagnosis, treatment comes. He will prescribe some medicines. He will prescribe you some food, what kind of food you have to consume. He advises you what practices you have to adopt during that time. And after a period of time, you go to a doctor and you report you are recovered. And after 2 days of your treatment, if you don't recover, you talk to a doctor, and again he will advise you go for viral test, and he diagnose that no, it's not viral, it is typhoid. So then he changes his treatment, he gives another treatment, and after a few days of the treatment, you recover and you report to the doctor that you recovered. So this kind of assessment and treatment and outcome, the evaluation and outcome, that is followed in medical research. Same is followed in experimental research, especially in agricultural research or in clinical psychology or in social work in general. So, so here, normally in static group comparison, 2 or more groups are taken for observation, where you keep one group for treatment and other groups are held static. So here the methodology is not randomization methodology and all, that is not that strictly followed. So this is one part that I wanted to share with you. And now I will come to how much time we have, madam? We have another up to.
Yeah, you have time, sir, till 11, 20, 25.
Okay.
You can extend it.
Okay. So then now I will come to the another part of the presentation where um, especially the scholars from social work, um, even normally clinical psychology people, psychiatry people, or even agriculture research people, they don't adopt it, but social work people, they adopt it. Single subject design wherein individuals become important rather than group design. We discussed about group design where experimental group, control group are the focus of our research. Normally group designs are followed. The group means are taken. Group means are taken. Experimental uh, group means, control group means. But in the single subject design, we focus more on individual in the group. And we take the means of the individuals and focus on bringing change in the individual means or average scores before and after, before the treatment, after the treatment, or before the program, after the program. But now here, why we call them as single subject design? Why we call them as quasi-experimental designs? They look like experimental research, but they are not in true sense experimental designs. But they have all the protocol procedures they follow, which are followed in the experimental research design. So normally it is, I think I again reiterate that it is Professor D.K. Laldas who advise many teachers and students that we have to adopt single subject design or quasi-experimental designs in social work research, social work practice. I will be focusing more on social work, but it also has social science perspective, because how to make our research outcome oriented, result oriented, application oriented, outcome oriented, meaningful one, that is the challenge for a researcher. Everybody, what we think research in traditional sense, in a customary way, that you take a problem, you read some articles, you prepare questionnaire, you collect data, you analyze tables, make tables, prepare the report and submit. So PhD is over or everything is over. So that kind of customary thinking, customary practice is there in social science research. That's why our research effect of our research, applicability of our research is very poor compared to science, technology, engineering, economics, management, and even psychology, clinical psychology. So in single subject design, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So in a single subject design, as I said, we take individuals into account. Individuals, every person's scores are very important for us. Their mean scores are very important for us. Their standard deviation score is very important for us. So we don't have groups here. We have only single group. We call it a single subject. It is a group with individuals. There are also individuals in the group, but the focus is on the group. Here the focus is on the individuals. So I will go to another, I have other slides, but I will try to go to another slide which will make you understand very easily. Because this, yeah. So I will be stopping this presentation. I will share another one, which will make you very easy to understand. Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I'm just focusing on quasi-experimental research. So normally what we do, I will explain because time is very short, how we practice intervention research or single subject design in our fieldwork practice. That background I will give so that it will help you to understand. So what we do is we introduced this intervention fieldwork practice based on single subject based fieldwork practice for our MSW first year students. Normally, in the first semester of MSW, after we have different kinds of fieldwork practice. Our students go to villages, MSW students in all the colleges, universities, they go to villages and work, they go to agencies and work, they go to NGOs and work. But our students, we send them only to 5 villages which are around our university, Central University of Karnataka. We collaborated with 5 villages. We should not use the word adopted. It is a very wrong word and it is unethical to say adopted. But normally it is there in practice, but we should discourage it as social workers. We cannot adopt a village. We cannot adopt anybody, but we can collaborate. We can collaborate our knowledge, skill, experience, practice with the people, because we also think people are equally important for us. We are partners. There is no researcher and subject. Normally in experimental research, the concept of subject is there. We treat somebody as subject. What is that subject? Subject means I am an expert, I am a researcher, I am an experimental researcher, I have high level knowledge, skill, high standard knowledge, and I give treatment to that person, patient, subject, and I will bring change in him. That is the medical science approach in adopted even in clinical psychology. But in social work, we normally say the partnership and collaboration. Person is equally important. The dignity, worth, self-respect of a person is very important. It should be protected. We always believe as social workers that we learn from people. We are not there to give treatment to people. We are not there to give something to people. We are collaborating with people. We sit, we work with them, we understand their problems, we help them to understand, and we help them to plan to solve their problems, and we assist them. So we collaborate our knowledge and skill with people, and people also have knowledge and skill. See, now if you tell me to do agriculture, to go to field and do cultivation, plowing and all, I can't do it. I don't know. See, many things I don't know. There are things I don't know. A farmer knows. Farmer knows about crops. Farmer knows about seasons. Farmer knows about insecticide, pesticides. Farmer knows about disease. In what kind of seasons, for what kind of crops, what kind of diseases come. That is his knowledge. That is his skill. That is his experience. So we have to respect that knowledge. That is also knowledge. I will just add one word, which I learned from Dr. Shashikanta Hankari and Dr. Balakrishna Ranike Anna, a person who built a nomadic tribe movement in Maharashtra. Basically, he was from Karnataka, but he worked in nomadic tribe movement. So these two persons, they used to talk about demystification of knowledge. See, we have made medical science is a very, very sophisticated, very complex knowledge, very difficult knowledge, and very difficult to understand. We think like that. Engineering, very difficult to understand. It is beyond common man. Common man cannot do anything. So that is the understanding we have. This is the superiority of knowledge. That itself is anti-human. That attitude itself is anti-human. We may have knowledge and experience, but other people will have different knowledge and skills, experience. So that we have to respect. So the non-hierarchical approach, the principle in social work, non-judgmental principle in social work that we have to adopt when we work with people. The demystification of knowledge, how we can bring medical knowledge, health knowledge, or the knowledge of technology, how we can bring it down to applicability so that it helps people to bring change. That applicability of knowledge is nothing but converting complex knowledge into simple form. You bring a high level of medical knowledge, put it in simple form so that it is applicable, usable for the people to use it, that knowledge, that skill. So that is where demystification of knowledge is very important for a social worker to understand. So we respect people because they have knowledge, skills, experience, and that is what the dignity and worth we we respect them for this. So we treat them as collaborator and partners. So here, what we do in the MSW first sem for the first semester students, we have identified one area. We have identified one area where we taken up the issue of life skills. We have identified that we visited. You can inform Bhaskara. Can you put off your video, Bhaskara? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So, here we as teachers, we discussed what intervention based program services we can take up in the villages. In the 5 villages we are collaborating. Then our students were visiting schools, working with children, adolescents and all. Then we thought, let us take up the life skills work. Life skills are very important for children and adolescents. So if we take up life skills work, that will help rural school children in addressing many of their problems. Then we identified a tool. That tool was developed by Dr. Vranda. That tool was developed by Dr. Vranda and Nimans. She developed a life skills scale, and we tried to develop. We tried to use that tool to measure the status of life skill. The assessment stage where we try to assess the situation, present situation of individuals. So for that, we need a questionnaire. We need a scale, standardized scale to assess that situation. Okay. For a doctor, he has a diagnostic lab data he gets from on medical parameters. But we need the opinion of the people. We need opinion of the people, wherein we have to assess the present situation, which we call as baseline situation. Baseline status, interventions situation, intervention condition, then outcome status. So we call it as AB design. A is baseline, B is outcome design. So baseline design is the present situation. And then you introduce some intervention programs, treatment, services, whatever it is. Then you collect data. That is outcome data. So the difference between baseline and outcome is what we call as the change, the behavior change or life skill change, whatever we call it as. So, here, normally we use this life skill scale, and we help our MSW students to understand this life skill scale developed by Dr. Vranda from Nimans. And every question in that scale tool, we make students to learn, apply, and understand. And then we train our students in the tool orientation we give them, life skills orientation we give them. So we conduct life skills training for 10 days. Earlier, we used to invite a trained person in life skills from Karnataka Health Promotion Trust, KSPT, introduced life skills for adolescents as part of their HIV/AIDS program. So there were some, we identified some trained person, and we invited the trained person, one Miss Arati from Mangalore. Now she is in Kerala. So she came for 2 years to train our MSW students for 10 days in 10 life skills of the World Health Organization modules are there. Already World Health Organization has designed the life skills modules. You can visit the website of World Health Organization. And there are more than 100 activities. So we identified around 36 activities for all these 10 life skills. And on those 36 activities, 10 days training was given to our MSW students. After that training, we gave them the assessment tool, life skill tool orientation. Then we gave them orientation to quasi experimental design, AB design, what I am explaining to you, that AB design, baseline stage, intervention, and then outcome stage. So the difference between baseline and outcome, we use it. We are able to show the change. So we don't have control group here. We do not have control group here, and we do not have randomization here. We select people who are there, who are interested, and you can say it is a non-probability sampling method. We don't follow probability sampling method where randomization of selection, randomization of allocation is followed very strictly. But in quasi-experimental design, that freedom is there for the social worker, that you can select anybody who needs life skills. It is need-based program. It is need-based. So social work is need-based program. Those who are needy, for them, we can extend services, programs, and all. So there are different kinds of life skills. Empathy, coping with emotion, coping with stress is one life skill. Interpersonal skill is one life skill. Creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, self-awareness, decision making. These are all the life skills. And for empathy life skill, there are 115 questions in the just a minute. Assessment. Yeah. In the life skill scale developed by Dr. Vanda, there are 115 questions. So all these 115 questions assess life skills in general. But what I say, so these life skills, you can say the empathy is one life skill. So to assess empathy, there are 9-10 questions. And out of 115 questions, 9-10 questions are related to empathy score. There is another scale that is coping with emotion, this scale. So for this variable, coping with emotion. For this coping with emotion life skill, to assess this, there are 10, 12, 13 questions are there. Like in the same way, coping with stress, interpersonal decision making, to assess this, there are 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 questions are there out of 115 questions. So we interview, we collect data, and then we assess, and we know the score, total score of empathy score, coping with emotion score, coping with stress score, interpersonal skill score. For each student, you will get that. Suppose in your group, you make a group, you go to a school. After training, we send our students to schools in the village. They go to school, they discuss with headmaster, teacher, and they identify normally 8th or 9th standard children or 7th standard children. In that, they take up one class. And from that class, we divide into 2 groups, because children will feel discriminated if we don't undertake life skill work with some children. So we divide into 2 groups, 15-15, not more than 15 children in one group. 15-15 children, we purposely divide it. So it's a non-probability sampling method. And then we divide the 2 groups, and then we start assessment. We use a life skills tool developed by Vrunda madam. This tool, we conduct interview using that questionnaire scale, and it's a standardized scale, and we collect data, and our students they collect the data, and they enter the data in Excel, and then now comes the baseline assessment, pre-intervention assessment. Now you should know what is the status of life skills in each child. What is the life skill status of life skills of each child? Say around 12 children are there in the group. So each child, what is his assessment status of life skills? So this is the score. So observation. You can say these are children. You can say these are the children. Their empathy scores, first child, second child, third child, like that. Self-awareness scores, problem solving scores. They are very high. If they are low, means high life skill. High score means low life skills. Okay. That one you should know. And then after assessment of that, what we do, we conduct life skill activities. We have trained our MSW students in 36 activities of 10 life skills. They identify which life skills actually children need. We can't say that children need training in all 10 life skills because of socialization, because of their exposure, interaction with the family members, school, outside community, environment and all. There must be a basic awareness, basic understanding or development of life skills. But that level may be varied. That level may vary. So what we do, we our students, they collect data, they come to our department, we ask them to enter data in Excel, they enter Excel data in Excel, and then we ask them to use quartile deviation Q1, Q2, Q3 to categorize children into low, medium, high category, low social life skill status, moderate life skill status, and high life skill status. Then we select only those children who are having we select only those life skills which these children are having low scores. So depending on that, normally what our observation is that every group has 3-4 life skills low score in the 3-4 life skills, and those 3-4 life skills related activities our students have already undergone training. Those activities they conduct with the children. Okay, they conduct those activities with the children, and then after that, after a gap of 1 week, what we do, we conduct a post assessment using the same scale, same questionnaire. They interview and they collect data individually, and then on the self empathy score and all that, you can see this score. So it is pre and post. In the pre, the scores were very high. Okay, see this empathy score, self-awareness score, problem solving score. Okay, so depending on the score, you can see how it is coming up. Empathy increased, self-awareness, the negative score is decreased. These things. So their awareness, you can see, we call it as visual significance. Visually, you can show this. So it shows all the difference in these things in the pre-intervention and post-intervention. So basically, what is important here is this is AB design. We also have AB design. We also have ABCD design. We follow AB design, which is convenient for our field of practice, keeping our students, the level of learning and is permissible for their life skill practice, because 1 month is given for them. So our students in the first sem, we only do capacity building, training of the MSW students. They don't go for concurrent field work or block field work. Only training, skill development in life skills. Community-based rehabilitation is another. We have some modules, different modules we have. Community-based modules we have, and we have also drug abuse prevention. We have micro planning module. We have life skills module. So in all these modules, we conduct training for 1 month in the first sem. In the second month, 1 month they go to field work. There they practice all these life skills. They practice community-based rehabilitation. They practice drug abuse prevention. They practice. They assess all these scores and they make proper assessment. So we normally use Wilcoxon test because it is non-parametric test. We normally use Wilcoxon test to, it's a paired t-test, like gives result, pre-test and post-test score. That results is given. And if the data is in rank order, Spearman rank correlation is there, that is used. So non-parametric tests are very useful in social work practice, especially working with individual group or community sometimes. So we can use non-parametric test. AB design, where you conduct a baseline, you collect baseline data, then you give treatment. Again, you collect outcome data. Then again, you collect baseline data. You understand what is the change. Then again, you conduct treatment or program. Again, you collect outcome data. AB, two times baseline, two times outcome with the same group, no control group at all. And ABCD design is used when you want to measure the effectiveness of intervention. Which you have different kinds of intervention. Which intervention is more effective? To test that, you follow ABCD design. One group you give one program, another group you conduct another intervention. Third group you introduce another intervention. Fourth group you introduce another intervention. You want to compare which intervention is more effective to solve the problem. You can say yoga is one treatment. You can say food, naturopathy, food habits or lifestyle change is another treatment. Or you can say medical treatment. You can have another treatment, combined treatment. So which will give more result? Whether yoga alone can give good result, or only lifestyle change, food habits will give, naturopathy will give better result, or allopathic treatment will give better result, or combined effect, all three in one group, all together will give better result. So then if combined giving better result, you advise that the combined effect is better. We have to go for the fourth group model. So to evaluate the effectiveness of the intervention, ABCD design is adopted. So this is all about the quasi-experimental designs, which are very effectively followed in social work. Yeah. So I end here, and so now we can have some discussion. There was more.
Good morning, sir. I am Kavya Upendra from Department of Social Work faculty, sir.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, in the previous discussion, you were telling about the modules, different modules, life skills modules found in WHO.
Yeah.
So can you put some more inputs on that, like what are they into and how we can...
There are some set of activities. So decision making is one module. Okay. There are 10 modules, 10 life skills, 10 modules. Each life skill, each module they have developed. Each module is a set of activities. What kind of activities you have to conduct with children, and conducting those activities, activity 1, activity 2, activity 3, activity 4. There is bridge model, there is river game, there are different kinds of drawing activities. So when you do those activities, children undergo through learning experience, and you at the end of the activities you reflect on that what children learned, what children feel, what they think, and how they can use that experience in their day-to-day life. The applicability, the outcome and applicability, that they will be able to just a minute. One 10 minute but bunny. 10 minute but bunny. Bunny. Okay. So these are the activities that we conduct, and then the process is there. It is a part of training. Training is very important. So after the training only, we will be able to send them to school so that they can do independently. They don't need any supervision in the field, because they are empowered through skill development. So that both in content, also in methodology, research methodology also they know how to interview, how to ask question, how to collect data, how to enter data in Excel. And then we also help them to use SPSS for Wilcoxon test and all, lamp parametric test and all. So it's very simple thing. And also we help them to go for in Excel graphic presentation, how they can do before intervention score, after intervention score. They can see the difference in the score. So that difference is because of their life skill intervention. So the students feel a lot of pressure and burden while working, but at the end of the session, they feel very happy, because they are able, what we say, social workers are agents of behavior change. social workers are agents of social change, but now here they are able to bring behavior change in children because of their activities, because of their initiative. They could able to bring behavior change in the children. So they feel very happy at the end.
Okay, sir. Okay.
That we found very effective. And that is where we say social workers have to play intervention role. How intervention role? Without skill development, we can't develop that interventionist role. So to develop interventionist role, we have to do capacity building or skill development activities. It could be content and also it could be methodology. Both are very important. Then only we can show that because of our intervention, this change we are able to achieve. This outcome, this result is achieved. For that, you need quasi-experimental design.
Okay. So can we use these models for our research-based studies? Where we are researchers.
Yeah.
So can we adopt or use these modules voluntarily in taking these modules?
Yes, you can use it. You can use it. Only you can report, inform, because it is in public domain, all the modules, but you need to undergo training. But one thing is that psychological scale, life skill scale, you have to take permission from the Dr. Vrunda, who developed that life skill scale. After taking permission, you can use that scale to collect data for assessment.
Okay. So one more last one, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you said like in your college, or I don't know whether I was not clear in hearing about it.
Yeah, Department of Social Work.
Departmental studies. The first sem, students will be trained in these modules, and then they are sent for experimentals.
Yes.
Sir, is this followed only in your department?
Yeah. Normally, this is not the practice everywhere.
Okay.
In our place, we follow this practice. In second semester only, they go for 1 month field work, 1 month exclusively.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much. I think this input has helped me, has supported my thoughts what is in my things. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, madam. You can consult, madam, even afterwards.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you very much, sir, for your in-depth knowledge into experimental design as such. We are very much grateful to you for your kind knowledge and shared with all our participants, including life skill education. I mean, the participants are more, inclined to now life skill education as such, along with experimental design. Thank you very much for your, active presentation, sir.
Thank you.
We are indebted to you with regard to your knowledge, with regard to experimental design.
Yes.
We look forward to having coordination again in future, sir.
Sure. Thank you. I thank all the participants for listening to me and giving me opportunity to share my views. Thank you, madam. Thank you all the participants. Any feedback you can type.
As we will continue our session now, Professor Anil Sutar.
Oh, yeah, another session, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Professor Anil Sutar is already online, and he is talking about quantitative research design for next 1.5 hours. Sir, we welcome you, sir, for this session. Professor Anil Sutar, sir.
Yeah. Thank
School
you.
of Technology, TIS, Mumbai. Sir is professor at the School of Research Methodology, Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
madam.
Nandini, am I audible to all of you?
Yes.
Yeah, Nandini, I request you to kindly introduce Professor Anil Sutar to the audience, please.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Hello, everybody. Let me just introduce my teacher, Dr. Anil Sutar, sir, to you all. Dr. Anil Sutar did his graduate, postgraduate, MPhil, and doctoral studies from the Karnataka University, Dharwad, in the stream of sociology. He has started his academic career as assistant professor in the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in 2001. Dr. Sutar has chaired the Center for Research Methodology and is currently professor in the School of Research Methodology. He has 18 years of experience in teaching research methodology at master's and at doctoral level. Sir has been involved in training and dissemination of activities related to research methods and analysis. He is also convener of the MPhil and PhD program at TIS. He has been involved with training activities for the Sashi Waters as UNICEF district facilitator. Dr. Sutar is often invited as a resource person for the research related to research-related international and national workshops. Sir has been actively involved in guiding and mentoring MA and PhD students for their research works. His research interests include qualitative and quantitative research methods, education, participatory governance, and leadership. He has published a number of papers on themes of research methodology and democratic decentralization in national and international journals. And as his student, I would say, I cherish on his the memories of his classes, wherein he's a great teacher for research methodology. What I remember is, he would just capture your minds with his very spontaneous and humorous classes. And he is very good at breaking down very complex concepts into very simple concepts. Today he is speaking about quantitative research design here. Welcome, sir, and session is over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Nandini. Let me at the outset express my gratitude to the Dr. Chandra Mouli and the colleagues at the Department of Social Work, University of Mysore, for inviting me to engage a session on quantitative designs to doctoral scholars. I have been told this session is a part of the course for PhD students, and I know that already the doctoral students have gone through 2 modules, one on literature review and second on problem identification and formulation. You all are at the 3rd module, and this model is basically meant for designing your studies. By this, I also understand that you all are at the very preliminary and initial stage of your PhD work, and I will try to help you how you can actually use certain methodological, philosophical, and theoretical ideas to sharpen, to refine your proposal and make your research work more distinct, sound, and that may enhance even your professional career opportunities, and also that will help your areas of practice. Let me share some of my slides. Is it visible? No, what I have said?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So this again, no, I have just listed our topic session, and now I will just let me give you some readings. Yeah, these are two important readings. I have listed and I think these will immensely benefit you. And here also I am following a bit distinct methodology. Most of the time, the speakers, resource persons, usually they give readings at the end of their talk. But I have made it now a habit. Even before starting our talk, we should actually, acknowledge the authors, the kind of works, research papers we have gone through. Because that is also moral obligation, and also this is also in one sense these are resources, and when we have read these resources, we have consumed it. When we have consumed it, then we should acknowledge it. And these two works are quite interesting. First one is social research methods, qualitative and quantitative approaches. This is fourth edition. Even edition also reflect upon the kind of the quality that that book carries, by Lawrence and Newman. From this, actually, you can read chapter 6, qualitative and quantitative research design. A very interesting chapter is there in this first book, social research methods. Then second, the text I am actually referring here is research methods for social work. This text is quite relevant for those who are doing doctoral work in the discipline of social work itself. Of course, it can be referred by others also, those who are from anthropology, psychology, other disciplines. Research methods for, so again, it is third edition by Rubin and Bobby. Here, several chapters are quite useful, but specifically you can refer chapter 9, causal inference and group designs. Mostly, it talks about experimental, quasi-experimental kind of designs. Then chapter 11 basically talks about survey research. Yeah, these are the two interesting readings. Then taking this your coursework deliberations forward, as Nandini rightly told, we will make this session, of course there is a limitation of time, but we'll try to make this session more creative and quite engaging one. In that case, you are welcome. You are all welcome. You are all welcome to intervene, because we have been talking about intervention. No, you are welcome to intervene here also in my talk. Wherever you feel, you can intervene. No need to wait till the end of my talk. You can intervene, interrupt in between also, raise your questions, ask for clarification, and you can also add your points, and you can supplement what I am trying to say here. Yeah, this is the kind of teaching pedagogy we follow usually, a discussion mode. You are all doctoral students, and some of you are also faculty colleagues. And I always consider the participants in workshop, especially doctoral students, as colleagues only. So we'll make it a bit discussion oriented. Don't assume that I am going to lecture you. There is nothing like lecturing to you all, because you are also quite mature, quite well read, and we'll have a sharing kind of session. Okay. But if your coordinators and all feel that only a questioning and answer will be kept at end, you can follow that also. But personally, I am okay with asking me questions anytime. Yeah, now taking this debate forward, the social work, I assume since this workshop has been organized by Department of Social Work, I will give a bit focus on social work research. But nevertheless, this kind of focus can also be interdisciplinary in nature. Others, those who are from other disciplines, they need not feel that they are left out. So I will start with basic idea. When we come to social work and other social sciences, especially disciplines like sociology, psychology, anthropology, economics, how we distinguish social work from other disciplines. Basically, the discipline of social work is quite distinguishable from sociology, economics, history, in terms of its practicability, in terms of its practicability and its professional nature. That social work is highly professional, and social work is field and practice oriented. So that is there, and there is no confusion ever about how to distinguish the discipline of sociology, social work, and anthropology, or history, or economics, to that matter. But no, believe me, when it comes to research, social work research, and research in sociology, and research in economics, and research in psychology, there I find a kind of overlapping and a bit very problematic situation, because the kind of issues the doctoral scholars they raise for their research, cutting across disciplines, they happens to be quite more or less similar only. For instance, street children have been studied by social work researchers for their research, sociologists, and also even economists, and even psychology. Psychology also focus a considerable amount of its attention on children, street children. So now the basic problem before the social work paternity or social work researcher is how we can actually distinguish. One second. One second, please. Yeah, how social workers can distinguish or justify themselves as they are quite unique compared with sociologists, psychologists, anthropologists, economists, when it comes to their doctoral topics. Sometimes you may say that in social work we give more emphasis on intervention, the kind of examples we have been hearing. Intervention, social worker they do a lot of intervention, be it changing the attitude of children, enhancing the learning skills of children. So then again there is a problem. Then how you can differentiate intervention from PhD research? So this is also very important. At one stage, no, social workers can claim that we are known for intervention. Our research are more intervention oriented. Okay, that is understandable. We appreciate that. But intervention is just as a social work practice, as part of social work practice, intervention is there, or how intervention can be converted, how intervention can be converted a thesis of which is capable for awarding doctor of philosophy. This is also quite interesting. So with this kind of backdrop, I will further move on. And again, there is also a debate that a social worker, no, they say that no, we are more concerned about the practice, that is intervention practice. But no, theory is theory is different. So, but actually, ideally speaking, if you see the philosophy of social work, discipline, the dichotomy of theory and practice is very problematic. In fact, giving more importance to PhD, doctoral research in social work. I hope those who are from social work, you all know that, increasingly now research has been encouraged in the field of social work. Otherwise, social workers after masters, they tend to self-contained and try to grow in the field as practitioners only. But no, thanks to new opportunities and UGC new regulations and all, now PhD research is also gaining importance among the social workers. Now, what I am trying to tell you, the assumption, the ideological position saying that theory and practice are different, and we are more focused on practice, and the theory is something different, is quite problematic. That to some extent, actually, become an obstacle for growth of research in the field of social work. But now we all know that, the dichotomy has been dismantled. Even there can't be dichotomy even in practice and theory also. I know those who are from social work, you know it very well. There the dichotomy of practice and theory is also quite artificial. There can't be such thing. Similarly, even in research, the theory and practice, that is what I can say. Even research and practice, theory and practice, they go hand in hand. So the social workers should not actually, what I can reduce themselves as only just interventionist or practitioners, and the kind of intellectual thinking comes from somewhere above. No, nothing like that. Social workers are intellectuals. Social workers are also thinkers. Social workers are also practitioners. They are researchers. This is the very beautiful concept of considering research in social work. Then again, now I will come to an interesting issue. When I received this invitation from Dr. Chandramouli, and when Nandini spoke to me, I was contemplating, in most of the cases, when it comes to design, social workers basically they also follow the mainstream social science designs only, as we were talking about experiments, survey research, then ethnography, qualitative, quantitative. This kind of framework they also adopt and follow it. Nothing wrong in that. I am not saying that is not appropriate one. What I am trying to tell you that the social work, like for instance, even in case of psychology, we talk about clinical research. In case of psychology, we talk about clinical research. In case of economics, sometimes we talk about econometrics. Am I right? And then in case of geography and urban geography, and we talk about spatial research in terms of cartography, other things. Similarly, we should have the methodology as a core. I am not saying that we should negate the mainstream social science research methods, that is experiments, survey, ethnography, case study. We can keep that philosophy intact, but we should also position ourselves. What is our strength in research? Like for instance, the psychologist, they talk our research is more clinical based. Then economics say that we are more interested in econometrics and all. So I will come to that. What I will do, the talk I am organizing, first I will say that what is the core, what is the beautiful, the aspects of social work research. I will highlight for half an hour, and so then I will move to interdisciplinary for all participants. How quantitative research designs have been formulated, what are the different components in quantitative designs, how we should execute quantitative design. That would be the later part of my talk. Now I will move to this I was actually conceptualizing when I was thinking about social work research. I hope, Nandini, you can all see slide, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. See, the research design for social work, I am actually conceptualizing them three components. One basically you all know, action research. That usually again it is known as participatory action research. That is one major design. I am visualizing it in that sense. Then second design of social work could be evaluation research, the middle one, evaluation research. Then the third I am thinking of research on social issues, social problems. Let me come to the second aspect of each one of these design. The participatory action research, basically it aims at bringing change and social transformation, socio-economic transformation. Whereas evaluation research, it basically aim at improving the practice, your intervention. One second. Why? Yeah, there was some error. Yeah. The evaluation research basically aims at improving practice and intervention. Then the third, research on social issues. Basically, I am visualizing the purpose could be designing intervention, formulation of policies, because these are three different action domains. One is direct change. Social work researchers are interested, not just because social work researchers, ontological and epistemological assumption is that knowledge not just for the knowledge sake. Knowledge not just for the knowledge sake. Knowledge is meaningful only when it results into transformation. And social work PhD should not only compile information and codify them into theory and bind them and then submit as a thesis. Basically, while doing PhD itself, the result of PhD could also actually lead to a kind of change in the system. That is the action research. And there is again another concern. Some of you may think that at PhD level, dealing with our research guide, our topic, our career, our personal life, sir, itself is challenging, and we may not be, having that much patience to bring transformation and change through our PhD work. Not an issue. Then what you can do? At least there could be, some practices, intervention already in the field. There could be some NGOs, they are working with street children. There could be some NGOs, they have been working with reproductive health of rural women. And if you take up such issue, their intervention, and you can document their intervention and see the the pros and cons, do a kind of evaluation of those intervention and practices, and document your whole process, and you can do that as a your PhD also. Then what you are doing, PhD, you are also building knowledge, and you are getting PhD from university, that is one thing. But at the same time, the kind of organization, be it an NGO, be it no community-based organization, self-help group, you are helping them also through your research process itself. I will illustrate later on with examples that can also be there. And the third, sometimes you may feel that evaluation research is also not my cup of tea. Then you can then just go for a kind of design which actually help you to formulate policies or interventions. So this third one, designing, here you are more or like I have listed here for research on social issues which you aim to formulate, usually in terms of your recommendations, in terms of action plans. You come out with some policy measures and all. Such research are in terms of involvement with social issues and problem and change, they are bit at shallow level, and they are highly academic. And this I am just listing academic approach in terms of methodology. So if you are not interested in evaluating a process, if you are not interested in assessing an intervention, if you are also not introducing intervention as part of your PhD, I can tell you, you can still do that also. Then if you feel that I would study the street children, and then I will come out with some recommendations, some action plan for their welfare. That kind of research are quite common in social work. Even sociology research, economics research, when economics also do about child labor, when sociologists study child labor, then when social workers study child labor or informal sector labor, most of those follow into the third paradigm. Whereas in case of first, when you are talking about action research, then the deeper involvement is there in the field. Then at some stage, social worker tend to appear like activist only, activism, because as I told you, even your basic ontology itself is very radical. You would argue that knowledge, for the sake of knowledge, is not that valuable. Knowledge is valuable. There are people, they say that knowledge is, which knowledge, epistemology, how they argue, knowledge is highly valuable, knowledge is highly credible, knowledge is highly valid, provided it is grounded in theoretical understanding, if it is follows rigorous methodology, and if it follows very sophisticated statistical analysis, then that knowledge is highly valuable. That is highly positivistic kind of approach. But those who follow action research, participatory action research, they also, I am not telling they will dilute with all this rigor, but they say that knowledge becomes valuable and credible to the extent possible. It helps in resolving the problems of the people. Means validity is more towards bringing social change and the transformation. That is why they say that the good theory is one which actually emerges from ground and leads to social change. Then the second one, evaluation and all, I am talking this is most of the time your CSR. Now social work has become highly professionalized in terms of CSR kind of initiatives. CSR, basically what CSR is aiming at, using corporate kind of philanthropic funding and all. And basically CSR activities are most of the time, of course there could be intervention, but most of the CSR activities are aiming for evaluation. So in one sense, social workers are emerging. Social worker means this this nomenclature is not that what I can say posh. Social worker means like a software engineer. When we say software engineer, a sophisticated image will appear. Am I right? But when we talk about a social worker, then the kind of image we create in the public is not that sophisticated. So now, but this CSR and all consultant social work. That is why in even thanks to UNDP, World Bank initiatives, even now some social workers are also working as a poverty analyst. Social worker, his or her designation is poverty analyst. Poverty analyst, they have very huge salary package. Their purpose is to analyze data on poverty, microfinance, all this one. And they are paid huge salary, and they have given air conditions office, very big car to travel and all. Their job is poverty analyst. This is a new concept. You can Google and you will come to know. So this evaluation research is of that kind, professional and consultancy kind of thing. Even social work faculty also, they may even get funding from different organizations, and they may identify sponsors, and they may carry out such kind of evaluation research. This is basically the framework of social work research design. That is why the focus should be very clear here. For instance, when we talk about street children, or let me quote you one example. Recently, I come across a PhD thesis on this woman's reproductive health. In that also, the issue was one student has done PhD on hysterectomy. Hysterectomy, that is the surgical removal of ovary, surgical removal of womb by rural women in particular district in Maharashtra. That hysterectomy is quite commonly practiced, and then those women the researcher wanted to study. And now I am telling you basically how, suppose if health professional, public health professionals, how if public health professionals, because even in universities like TISS, we have even School of Health System Studies. Our students also do PhD on health aspects. How health researchers, public health researchers look at the issue of hysterectomy. Hysterectomy, basically they go with approach of health seeking behavior, and the arrangement of health infrastructure in rural area, primary health centers, then district hospitals, and then the issues of referral, then how women's health seeking is actually determined, then how to improve the health seeking behavior of women. This is basically the kind of line of inquiry they follow. And assume if the same issues taken up by students from sociology and all, they will go with a bit social kind of aspects. Who are these women? Whose womb is removed by surgery? Hysterectomy, who have undergone hysterectomy, who are these women, caste background, rural, those who are from SC/ST, OBC, whether among upper caste also women are removing their womb, are they also victims of this process? Some such kind of thing, the political economic kind of question they will raise. I hope you are getting. But whereas when social workers look this issue of hysterectomy, how they look at it, believe me, the student has done it. Basically, the purpose of student here was to see what kind of support system these women are having. Hysterectomy, okay, they have been victimized, they have been exploited, even very at the young age. These are very poor agriculture laborer women. They have been misguided. There is a kind of medical malpractice because of insurance and other kind of claims. Without any genuine reason, their wombs have been removed surgically. And now because of this, the women who have undergone hysterectomy, they are undergoing lot of problems, emotional problems, psychological problems, livelihood related problems, all these are there. Now the concern of the social work PhD student is these issues. So these are the problems the women who have undergone this surgical procedure are undergoing. How to help them? What is the support mechanism available in the rural area? Are there any NGOs working there? Are there anybody reaching out to them? Are there any government schemes that help these kind of women? What to do to their livelihood? Considering these kind of issues, the social workers go there. They, even in one terms of intervention, if you take intervention kind of approach here, action, participatory action, also they can
ರೀ ಒಂದ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗತ್ತಾ
they
ಆ
can do it.
ಕಡ್ಲೆಕಾಳನ್ನ ನೀರ್ದಂತೆ ಉನಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ
They can
ಆಮೇಲೆ
do
ಸಾಂಬಾರ್
it.
ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಮಾಡಿ
Silpaji, you mic, huh? Yeah, see, the participatory action research also they can do it. What they will do? This is very challenging. Even identifying women who have undergone hysterectomy, rural women, be it in Kerala or Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, you take any state, then a particular district you can zero down. Then from that district going to the different villages, taking the health, data bank from health, in this one, hospitals and all. Then identifying such woman itself is a very.
ಅರ್ಧ ಹಾಕಿರಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಬೇಡ.
Silpaji, you have to unmute. Mute.
Shilpa MC, please mute your microphone.
Yeah, okay. So what even the woman who have undergone hysterectomy, here you can do participatory action research also. You can do even a very systematic sampling also. Take a district, you can do a cluster multi-stage sampling also. For instance, if it is Karnataka, you can cluster them North Karnataka, Hyderabad Karnataka, Old Mysore Karnataka, then Central Karnataka. Then from each region, select one district. From each district, then select some 5 blocks. Then from 5 blocks, select some 10 villages. From 10 villages, then list out the women who have undergone hysterectomy. Very beautiful methodology has been done there. So then, bring in all these women, create their networking. Conduct interviews with them, have FGDs and all. Through this only identify resources available for them. Then you yourself understanding their problems and all, reach out to the kind of NGOs, reach out to the kind of departments, they can take care of them. Even as part of this also, even you can even in High Court, as a PhD students, you can also file a suit, public interest litigation also. If you come across that a particular corporate hospital has exploited woman, so and so woman, then what is PhD here? I am telling that is why I have written. You appear to be more like activist here in this kind of action research, but still documenting it all, the problem, how you identified this problem of hysterectomy, and going through literature, global literature in Indian context, then identifying this problem of hysterectomy among rural women, then framing your objectives, research questions, going to data collection, sampling methodology, then your data collection, how you have conducted FGDs, how you done in-depth interviews, and how you also used archival, how you also applied under Right to Information Act, and how you obtain data from Health Ministry, district hospitals, and how you compiled and analyzed this data, then how your framework, conceptual map findings are emerging. The whole documentation can become very beautiful PhD thesis. This is one example. Or you can even do here that the highly academic, then only you can say that I won't do networking and filing petition in High Court or applying under RTI, and I want to involve, I don't have much resources of that kind. I will simply study their problems. What kind of problems? Psychological, emotional problem, livelihood problem, personal problem, marital problem, all those things. And then I will just come out with the policy frameworks, intervention, how they can be helped. Those models I will present at the end of my PhD. Then you are on third kind of research. Then the middle one, it is
Sir, your mic has gone mute, sir.
yeah. The third one is in case if there is already any intervention, if there is an NGO working for such women's reproductive health, women who have undergone hysterectomy, then their efforts, their activities, you can evaluate, you can strengthen their activities by your PhD work. Yeah, this is what I thought. You beat my only appeal to social work doctoral students or social work researcher is that when you raise questions, your questions should be different than the questions of sociologist. Because ultimately, of course, you can also do kind of deliberation, kind of political economic kind of deliberation, highly rigorous, like econometrics kind of analysis also, because that is now mainstream. Even I have been I have come across Nandini, you people have also been taught statistics. I know most of students they are also using SPSS, generating charts, tables, and they have also become highly intellectual and analytical in their approach. Social work researcher, that is good. But what I am trying to tell you, those charts, those analytical tools, if they help the vulnerable, the people in society, then it is even much more meaningful than the kind of work the other disciplines they do it. When you see whether it is street vendors, or to take an example, in big cities, I think even in Mysore, that side also. Now government has actually, government is promoting women to even start running taxis and autos. In Mumbai, it has become quite common phenomenon now. A lot of women, they also actually run autos on par with men. They are also taxi drivers, auto drivers. They are running. And if somebody want to do PhD, usually anthropology, the colonial kind of legacy anthropology is having is basically see things from curiosity. Who are these women? What their husband is doing, what kind of family they come from, how they have taken up this kind of job. This is kind of deliberation, usually more into kind of what I can say, a journalistic, entertaining kind of research. But if you are a social worker, your question should be, how are even we have also social entrepreneurship kind of department. Your approach should be these women, especially from marginal background, lower classes, they have taken up such a challenging male dominated occupation. They have entered in auto rickshaw and taxi driving. Of course, then your assumption should be they must be facing lot of challenges and problems there. how to enhance their business opportunities there, what kind of problems they are finding, how they are actually balancing taking care of their children, because woman there is also a kind of burden, taking care of family members, then again competing with these men on the street running taxi and driver autos. So what I'm trying to tell you, you should come out with talk to women, to ask about their problems. You may come to know that they find the help in terms of daycare centers for their children. There could be some women of this kind who are single mothers also. Their needs. And as a social worker, can you mobilize all such women and taxi drivers and like self-help groups? Can you build a kind of union, and through such initiatives, can you help to change their livelihood prospectus? This could be the proper way of looking at research issues from social work perspective. So now what I will do now, I will just go to this generic research designs, quantitative research design, because that is what I told. My next step would be that only. One second. Yeah, can you see these slides, different slides now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Most of you have been muted, I think. Yeah, not an issue. Okay, this is the generic quantitative research design. Just I've just tried to contrast them with qualitative also, and basically in terms of design, one important issue is actually one, sometimes it become a kind of puzzle for young researchers. How to differentiate between quantitative design and qualitative design. That is one thing. And suppose if you are able to distinguish them, then again justifying them, should I go for quantitative design for my research topic, or should I go for qualitative? These are very pertinent issue. What kind of design I should select? Sometimes there is a kind of impression that if you use more statistics, if you test hypothesis, then that can only be research. Hypothesis, statistics, variables, theory testing. This is the most dominant kind of approach in social science research that we call as quantitative. Nevertheless, there is also qualitative research. I won't deliberate more on it. And that actually devoid of all your hypothesis testing, variables. It is quite like in one sense like an essay or a novel or a story or a narrative. And unfortunately, in academics, qualitative research is not considered that scientific and rigorous vis-a-vis this quantitative research. But what I will do now here, I will basically try to help you. What is that actually differentiate quantitative and qualitative, and then we'll see what are the different steps in quantitative research. Yeah, this is basically I am listing the kind of verbs we use while formulating, writing our objectives, the kind of verbs we use, they have very important implication for the kind of research orientation we are likely to follow. I mean, your research objectives, they have direct implication for the kind of research design you are actually seeking. Accordingly, even most of us, we indiscriminately, we write objectives, and the kind of verbs we use, also we never give that much serious thought process while dealing with these verbs. But ideally speaking, all verbs, those are used to write our research objectives, can be grouped into 3 categories. The first category I'm listing, there are verbs like to analyze, to examine, to explain, and to investigate. This is altogether one kind of group category. Then there is a second, to know, to study, to describe, and to find out. This is second objectives group. Then third objectives group, to understand, to discover, to explore. Suppose if you write objectives like, my first objective is to understand. If you write to understand the emotional problems of women, rural women who have undergone hysterectomy recently, to explore the kind of social support, the support mechanism available to such women in rural areas. If your objectives are of this kind, then you are obviously going towards, here I am showing it. You are going towards exploratory research, that is qualitative design you are talking about. Am I right? On the other hand, suppose if your objectives are to analyze, to examine, to explain, to investigate the causal kind of relationship, the socioeconomic background of women, and their health-seeking behavior, the educational background of women, their health-seeking behavior, such kind of approach, it basically takes you to explanatory kind of research. And explanatory research usually leads to quantitative design only, this one. Then second, the objectives such as to know, to study, to describe, to find out, they basically go into this. To know, to study means in this block of village, how many rural women have undergone hysterectomy. It is basically like you are like a surveyor, statistician, your purpose is to see the how widespread is the phenomenon, to know it, to find out it. I hope you are getting my point. This kind of objectives are basically descriptive. That also takes quantitative route only. What I will do now, before going to the different steps in quantitative design, I will give one illustration just to relate all these groups. For instance, anyhow, in the present COVID pandemic context, we don't talk much about examination, board exam and all. But earlier, in normal times, the board exams are very quite crucial in our country. I don't think whether in America they have board exams for their children. But anyway, India want to defeat America, so we should have board exams. Yeah, so we have board exams, be it SSC exams, be it HSC, in Karnataka context, SSLC, PUC board exams. And whenever board exam results are announced, the next day newspapers carry a lot of reporting of board exam results. Am I right? For instance, the passing percentage of 10th board exam this year, it has gone up 75. Last year it was 70. Such kind of reporting. passing percentage. Then again, sometimes they report the passing percentage in 10th exam, SSC exam is high among girls, that is 90%, whereas 75% among boys. I mean, out of 100 girls appeared for 10th exam, 90 have cleared it, whereas in case of boy, 75 have cleared, 25 haven't cleared. Such analysis. Passing percentage high among girls. Most toppers are girls. And no, even district wise, in Karnataka, no, for example, if I quote the example of Karnataka, like we used to come that, no, that Dakshin Kannada tops in board exams, whereas districts like Raichur, Yadgir, no, they are no, they were lagging behind. So this kind of situation also, Mysore, no, passing percentage of Mysore district is this much. The Raichur district is this much. You know, all this kind of no, description which comes in the media, no, that is descriptive research. Why I'm sharing this, no, that is descriptive research. Basically, the objectives are to find out, to describe the phenomenon, that passing percentage, pass results of exam, 10th exam is a phenomenon, and you are describing it in terms of its magnitude. Magnitude means passing percentage, 70%, 90%. Then its distribution across districts, how much is the phenomena. This kind of aspects are descriptive research. That is also quantitative. Why I'm saying quantitative, no, basically we'll use charts, graphs, the tabulation, percentage, mean and standard deviation, all those averages, you use it. And whereas suppose in order to take this research bit advanced level, some of you may be wondering, no, why passing percentage among girls is always high? Why passing percentage among girls is 90% and among boys why it is 75%? How to explain it? Then here, no, you are trying to explain the causal relations between gender and passing percentage. Gender, boy and girl, and passing percentage 75 and 90. How to explain it? Then if you are taking newspaper, they never attempt this. Am I right? Newspaper, they won't write one analysis, no, using statistical significance, parametric, no, they won't do all that. But if you take up that as an advanced level of analysis, then here it comes, no, to analyze the relation between gender and passing percent. Am I right? For that, you can't say to describe the relation between gender and passing is not the appropriate way of wording it. Always you can say that to analyze, to examine, or to explain the difference of passing percentage among boys and girls. That is the appropriate language. Then all this kind of objectives take you to explanatory, that is quantitative. Here what you are doing, you are raising research questions. Then accordingly, then you have to formulate hypothesis. Why girls perform better in board exam? Why passing percentage among girls is higher than boys? You formulate several hypotheses. For instance, I can tell you, because hypotheses are core of the quantitative research design. You may say that the girls, most girls, they follow group study method than boys. This could be one. That is why the group study means more deliberation, more scope for correction, revision, sharing, something like that. You can have some theories of that also. And you test it, then take random sample and goes to interview boys, survey boys and girls who passed 10th exam, who appeared 10th exam last year. Then ask them their pattern of study, whether they were studying alone in home or they were going with friends, sitting in friends. This is just an example I am saying. Or another hypothesis could be more girls, they attend tuitions than boys. Several such things. Such hypothesis you have to make. Then go for a probabilistic random large scale sample by using even sample determination formula. Then you have to use standardized scale here. Standardized scale here in the structured into schedule or even questionnaire you use. Ask questions, then collect data and analyze and use. No, in this case, if you want, you can use one t-test also based on your no sample size, the score of girls and all. First to establish significance. Then if it is no going for tuition and non going for tuition, group study method, individual study method, then you can use a chi-square non-parametric test. I mean, what is the nature of quantitative design? In quantitative design is quantitative research, explanatory research is more than description. More than description, it raises certain research questions. Then for those research questions, it also formulate hypothesis. Then it collect data to test those hypotheses, and collected data is tested by using statistical testings such as parametric and non-parametric. Then conclusions are drawn. This is the quantitative design explanatory. But just coming to this third exploratory research, you are aware about qualitative research. Just since I have covered both explanatory and I will just expand it to exploratory research also. In this case, suppose if girls passing in exam is passing percentage among girls is very high and all toppers are girls only. But in reality, what happens, I can give you a particular case. You may come across one high school where 200 girls have appeared 10th exam. Out of 200 girls, you may come across 180 girls passed with distinction, first class with distinction, 180 girls. But 20 girls performance is not that good. 10 girls have passed with 50% marks average. Then you may also come across some 10 girls have failed in exam also. Now, for this 10 girls, as I told you, for 10 girls, then you need to understand them. This verb is very important, understanding. Now, how to understand? Why? How to understand when all girls are so successful, why these 10, 15 girls did not make to the board exam, did not become so successful? What is their context? What are the issues involved? So you can't go like survey asking them question, how many hours you studied, whether you were going for tuition, not going for tuition. At the face value, you may come to know they were also going to tuition. They were also very regular to class. Then despite of that, they could not. Then what were their kind of mindset, whether they were having any issue, problems, socio-emotional, how to understand it. Then you should go for case studies. That is 10 girls, study them very in-depthly with empathetic approach. That is qualitative example. So what I try to help you, same 10th board exam, how one can be suitable for explanatory, and what could be the scope for descriptive research, then what is the domain of exploratory qualitative research. And in most cases, descriptive and explanatory research in quantitative design, they can go together also. The first two objectives could be description, then 3-4 objectives can be explanatory also. In your PhD, it is not necessarily, I am not telling that you should compartmentalize. You should compartmentalize your PhD according to these verbs. That is not my contention. My contention is you should actually appreciate that there are different kind of verbs, and those verbs, they connect their own philosophical meaning. Like for instance, understanding, understanding connects the meaning of empathy, empathetic, insider understanding, insider perspective. Whereas analyze, examine, explain, they focus on positivism, objective reality, causal analysis, abstraction theory. So these things you should appreciate. Having said that, for your PhD, you can have 1-2 objectives of description, then 3-4 objectives are explanatory also. That is also possible. And nowadays, increasingly now we are talking about reconciliation of quantitative and qualitative methods also. You might have come across about mixed method research. So in that case, even exploratory, these three group of objectives can also go in one research report. It is possible, but I just would like to help you to whenever you write your objectives, it is always better you can identify this first objective. It is of qualitative, exploratory in nature. The second two objectives are of descriptive in nature. Then 3/4 objectives, those are highly analytical and explanatory in nature. So then for each objectives, the kind of methods of data collection you are following, the kind of analysis you will follow, you should make a chart sheet. One matrix you should make. You are having 5 objectives. For each objectives, what is going to be the nature of data, whether you will collect qualitative data or quantitative data, then again whether ordinal data or interval data, nominal, then what kind of analysis you will use, whether the t-test or chi-square test or just descriptive univariate statistics you will use, or if it is qualitative, whether you are using thematic analysis or grounded theory approach. All that kind of details can be presented in one chart. Then the reviewer, the examiners of your thesis, they will highly appreciate your research work. With this, let me move to this is the part now. The steps in conducting research. Of course, my session is on quantitative, but without saying qualitative also comes, because what is the problem, the quantitative and qualitative, of course they are very distinct, but they are not substitute. They are not substitute to each other. They are quite complementary actually. That is why while discussing quantitative, a reference to qualitative always comes without any purpose in mind. So the different steps in conducting quantitative research, you can see here. You start with the theory. Theory is very important. That is why most of the time quantitative research design is also known as deductive design. Deductive design. Why it is deduct? Because we are deducing from theory. Then we are deriving hypothesis. Then we are operationalizing key terms, variables. Then we go about measurement, as I know you might have been taught. 4 levels of measurement we talk about: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio level. Then you can design structured tool for data collection, questionnaire, scales you can develop. So show psychometric scale, and then you think about very systematic sampling, probabilistic sampling, decide the sample size with sample determination formula also. There are procedures how you can decide scientific sample size. Then with that, then you can go for data collection. Then use data, do data analysis by SPSS or other statistical packages. Then you are finding discussions. Then again you are going back to theory. So in one sense, in quantitative research, design, it starts with theory and ends with theory. This is very interesting domain here. So all these points, 1 to 10, if you follow these steps, one circle completing, then that is you are actually doing a quantitative designing. Whereas there is other approach to doing research also, that I am just drawing it here. That point number, you can start with point number 8 to point number 2, that is research question, then come to data collection only directly, then data analysis findings, then you can say that you are going to qualitative research approach. There is one interesting diagram. Let me share with you that. One second, I'm just. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what is that? In circle form we represent, where in case of this quantitative research, we start with theory, then we formulate hypothesis, then we go to data collection. This is the major step. Whereas in qualitative research, we start with the data collection itself. That is what very interesting aspect of qualitative research. We bypass all those previous steps: theory, operationalization, research question, hypothesis, measurement, sampling, design, all those things. We bypass all those things. Directly we start with data collection. From data we start analysis, then we go to back to theory. Even qualitative research also theoretical, in the sense it ends with theory, but quantitative research, it starts with theory and ends with theory. But qualitative research, to begin with, it won't get any backup by any theory. It creates its own theory in one sense. You all must be aware. So that is the important difference. Then these steps, how you formulate hypothesis, how to raise research questions. Even I thought of discussing all those, but if you have any questions, in form of queries, clarification, there I can elaborate about variables, hypothesis, scaling, measurement, and what kind of statistics you can think of testing hypothesis. If those are there, I can take up there. I think with this, let me conclude my session on designing. And as I told you in the beginning, we are basically very much familiar with discussion oriented kind of sessions. But anyway, I hope that I made some sense while discussing this on even virtual forum here. So now over to the anchorers, coordinators, or directly, I am opening up it for discussion and debate this session.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we will have a discussion as you said it. Participants are requested to kindly ask if you have certain doubts with the sir.
So good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So this is Kavya Upendra from Department of Social Work, University of Mysore faculty, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, it was a good session from your end.
Yeah, thank you.
And your probably that experiences what you have shared about many research studies gave us a very good input on since we're all freshers in the we're all babies in getting up and doing researches.
Okay.
It is really a hand-holding experience of your talk, sir.
Thanks.
Sir, probably I don't know how genuine in my question, but it's a researcher question from my end. Sir, when we are doing the traditional study, or probably I can put it in the study what we do for historical study,
okay,
and the present situation study. So these two are the basic criteria for researcher. So either we have to study about the past or present.
Okay.
So what kind of research design we can do, like what will be the valid research design we can adopt for these two kind of things, like qualitative, quantitative? So what kind of research design, sir?
Yeah, in one sense, this the past events and all, work and qualitative, of course there is a historical methods. But in qualitative terms, we talk about life history method. We talk about oral history method. Those are quite interesting if you see it from qualitative angle. But again, the kind so-called the mainstream history, archaeology and history, they go with again a very positivistic orientation. Archaeology, evidences, archives. So that is different actually. One can even think of that also. But obviously we are following past. We are focusing on past. But our interest is again human society, human culture, human issues only.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Then those kind of archaeological, kind of historical methods may not be that much useful.
Okay, sir.
Personally, are oral history method, life history method, narratives. These can be quite meaningful. Then in case of present issue and all, then again I told you, I basically sometimes Nandini, she was our student here in TSS.
Yeah, she told us, sir.
She will tell you much more. We have very vibrant this politics around methodologies, qualitative, quantitative in our campus.
Okay.
Actually, ideally speaking, both are actually complementary.
Okay.
We were just creating artificial animosity among them. Both are complementary. As I told you rightly, suppose if your focus is small group, suppose small group you are dealing in case of social practice group method, if it is small group, then go for qualitative, very in-depth approach. But in case if you are going for evaluation of large government scheme, because you are also contemplating research on those also, some intervention laws scale, then there you can basically focus on quantitative approach, randomized sample, surveys, structured surveys. Then wherever possible, you can bring in qualitative elements additionally. That is what I feel.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So as you said, it's a complementary thing. So probably we can adopt both the methods as in needed in the research methodology, sir.
Yeah, sure. That is possible.
Okay,
that never dilute also. There are people,
okay,
they may have apprehension, this may result into dilution. No, actually, one epistemologically, now there were people, they were thinking, these two can be, how can you think about two incompatible issues, how you can bringing congruence and bringing synergy among them. Those were debated earlier, but now it has been realized and understood. We can still integrate them. There are methods, even textbooks are also coming up that kind now. how to
Okay.
integrate qualitative and quantitative methods.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And one more thing, sir. Since you have already given so much of experience, experimental studies from your experience,
Mhm.
so, if a researcher want to take up an experimental study today, suppose researchers want to take a study on any social issues, because social work is concerned about more on issues on society.
Yeah, you are right.
So what would be your baseline suggestions for researcher at the beginners, sir?
Mhm. No, the basic idea actually, in previous module you have been discussed. I thought, a basic idea, the kind of research question we raise, the kind of literature review we do, and the kind of research question we raise, our orientation, our inclination, our intent of study, our
Okay.
intent of research should be quite distinct than others.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That we should always try to make, we should create ground for that. That is very important.
Okay, that means like uniqueness is what you suggest, sir.
Yeah, uniqueness in terms of, you are keeping in the philosophy and perspectives of social work. That is
Okay.
important.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, please.
Sir, I'm Jagdish Patil from Gulbarga University.
Yeah, good, Jagdish.
Sir, I will give just some basics about my research. So my research involves 4 different sectors of knowledge. For example, I'm using ICT as one part, government implementation of ICT is the second part, like that government will come as a second body. Third will be society, the usage of that ICT, how people are using ICT in their daily life. And these 3 parts are correlated with the management series of service quality, technology adoption, and the usage of technology. So these 4 bodies will be involved in my study. So I'm having some trouble understanding how I need to develop a scale to understand the adaptability of technology and those things. Can you throw some light on scaling methods?
Scaling methods, no? Yeah.
Yes,
Scaling, Professor Jagdish, scaling, usually in terms of scaling, if you throw your literature review, if you try to come across certain scales, whether in India or abroad, used in this kind of domains, you can borrow those things and validate those for Indian context. That is because most of the times, I'm talking from the perspective of experts and external reviewers. They most of the time, they never appreciate research scholars developing their own skills, and that too, especially if you are a PhD doctoral student. So for that safer side, our focus should be to explore if scales are there, whether it is in Indian context or global context, borrow those scale and try to actually customize them to Indian context and validate them here and use it. That is one. And if not, if there is a high need of developing the whole scale for this your research purpose, then still you can make an effort. Then there are different process actually, how to measure validity of scales, base validity, your research guide, and a team of scholars you can consult. And 2 very important things I would like to share with you here is the very rich literature review. That's quite important for this. Then second, your creativity, sense of how you can look at these aspects, how you identify, for instance, utilization of ICT, how you actually operationalize, or what you call as ICT, No, what are the different domains in ICT? For each domain use of ICT in society means you are just talking about common people, or you in society also means use of ICT in schools, use of ICT in other organizations, or use of ICT by common people. No, this kind of creative engagement will help.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So there is a question in chat box.
Yeah, please read.
The question says that how much appropriate is the multidisciplinary approach in social work research? How appropriate multidisciplinary approach in social work research, I think, sir.
One second. What do they say?
How appropriate multidisciplinary approach? Or Venkatesh Murthy, sir, you can speak to him.
Yeah, no problem. I got it. Multidisciplinary approach, no? Yeah, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary approach. Because social work, no?
Sorry.
Social work. Venkatesh, whose question is this?
Sir, this is Venkatesh Murthy.
Yeah. Please, Venkatesh. Yeah, I understood your question.
Yes, sir.
How relevant is multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary approach in social work? Am I right?
That's correct, sir. That's correct, sir. You're right.
Yeah, because this, compared with these so-called, disciplines like economics, psychology, the social work, women studies, I am not diluting the rigor. Social work by origin itself, it is multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. In this sense, it borrows even, if you see the kind of curriculum courses we teach to our social work students, there are courses on psychology, child development theories, several such things. Even when we talk about governance, community organization, then the political science, issues of power are there, sociology. So what I'm trying to tell you, by virtue of its origin, the nature, the social work actually encompasses multidisciplinary thing, and these are highly important following multidisciplinary method or approaches. But only what I told Venkatesh ji in the beginning, we should make ourselves distinct. The way we raise questions, how we do it, it can be matching with other methods, not an issue. But what kind of question I am raising it, as I told you, any question you talk about, rural women who have undergone surgeries, be it health issues, or women auto rickshaw drivers, or street children, or old age, people living in old age, or child laborers, any issue, the kind of questions sociologists ask, the kind of questions the psychologists, economists ask, social workers, social work professions, they have their own, what I can say, very distinct approach.